An artist. An inspiration. Unjustly cast into the abyss for being a conscientious objector. And the architect for the collapse of existence itself. We delve into a realm never expected on this show before. A Kevin Smith movie. Here on Monster Menagerie. Welcome to Monster Menagerie, brought to you by the Paladin Archives. My name is Mason Kren. Mason's the title, Kren is the name. If you're new around here, this is the show where we take a dive into pop culture to see how the Paladin Order might handle some of the biggest monsters in movies, games, books, and more. Last year was all about vampires, from Dracula to Marceline to Ceres Victoria. This year, 2024, is the year of the demon. We started strong with who might be considered one of the prototypes for the modern demon, Pazuzu from The Exorcist. Last month, we followed that up with our lovely queen of the Mackay, Morrigan from Darkstalkers. And now, today, we step into the scariest realm of all, the View Askewniverse. That's right, today we're analyzing Kevin Smith's Dogma, and while there were technically two demons I could have looked at, I'm doing you a favor by picking Azrael. He's suave, he's patient, and his motivations are both insane and moving at the same time. Like with last year, we'll be looking over one demon a month until November, after which we'll be comparing all the demons in one big end-of-the-year show. I hope you'll join us all year long so you can weigh in on which demon is your favorite and which demon you want to see next. Alright, let's get this surprisingly deep stoner film going. Snoochie Boochies. Azrael is a demon from the depths of the pit. In other words, hell. He was once an angel, a muse, an abstract concept capable of inspiring. In short,
I was an artist, stupid!
If you're not up on your Bible stories, after God created all of, everything, there was a great fight in heaven, the war for the throne. The ethereal planes were split, with some angels on God's side and a great host on the side of Lucifer. Now, I'm going to take a quick little break to clarify something. Perhaps this is a subject ripe for its own video, but in the modern parlance, the devil, Satan, and Lucifer have all merged into one being. Most people don't even realize there's a difference. I could easily go on for half an hour discussing them all, but just to clarify, traditionally and according to Scripture, Lucifer is the fallen angel that rebelled against God. Satan is the title of the adversary, an angel in the employ of God, specifically meant to tempt and test mankind. And the devil, let's just say the devil is a complicated melange of translations and mixed stories. It doesn't stop there either. Beelzebub, Mammon, Baphomet, and so many more have all been attributed to the entity known as Lucifer, though each is not only a unique demon within Catholic dogma.
Roll credits.
Several are actually deities from other cultures and religions that were absorbed into Christianity and reworked as demonic entities. The point is, I don't want to get yelled at in the comments by someone correcting me on the uses of Lucifer versus Satan. Where was I? Right, war in heaven. Now, whatever the reason, it varies from religion to religion, sect to sect. Heaven was split in twain, with angel fighting angel. Azrael, the muse, decided not to fight. If serendipity, a fellow muse, is to be believed, he was a coward who was waiting to see who was going to win before declaring his allegiance. But according to Azrael himself, he was a conscientious objector.
A muse has no place in battle.
And so, along with the host of heaven that rebelled, he was cast out into the abyss. Now, this is where things get really interesting to me. You see, in a deleted scene, we get a peek at what hell was like originally. And while you may not think of classical literature when you think of Kevin Smith,
yo, baby, you've had your licked by a fat man in an overcoat?
He clearly took inspiration from Christopher Marlowe's Dr. Faustus. In short, hell was nothing but loneliness and separation from God. You see, the absence of the divine presence, being away from God, is literal torture for angels, fallen or otherwise.
All this time we've been down here, I've felt the absence of the divine presence, and it's pained me, as I'm sure it must have pained you. And why? Because of the way he made us.
To quote from the demon Mephistopheles,
"Why, this is hell, nor am I out of it. Thinkest thou that I, who saw the face of God and tasted the eternal joys of heaven, am not tormented with 10,000 hells in being deprived of everlasting bliss?"
I'm going to skip ahead just a bit on the timeline because I feel like the deleted scene I mentioned from Dogma, well, it explains Azrael's feelings better than I could. So here, take a listen.
Human, have you ever been to hell? I think not. Did you know that once hell was nothing more than the absence of God? And if you'd ever been in his presence, then you'd realize that's punishment enough. But then your kind came along and made it so much worse.
Humans aren't capable of 1/100th the evil a bag demon like you is.
Evil?
It's an abstract! It's a human construct! But true to his irresponsible nature, man won't own up to being its engineer, so he blames his dark deeds on my ilk. But it's not enough to shadow his own existence. No, he turned hell into a suffering pit. And why? Because it is beyond your abilities to simply make personal recompense for the sins you commit. No, you choose rather to create a psychodrama and dwell in a foundless belief that God could never forgive your grievous offenses. So you bring your guilt and your inner decay with you to hell, where the horrid imaginations of so many gluttons for punishment gave birth to the sickness that has infected the abyss since the first one of your kind arrived there, begging to be punished. And in doing so, they've transformed the cold and solitude to pain and misery. I've spent eons privy to the flames, inhaling the decay, hearing the wail of the damned. I know what effect such horrors have on the delicate psyche of an angelic being.
I'd rather not exist than go back to that.
Listen, I know Kevin Smith isn't bringing home any Oscars, but that's some intriguing world building. Time passed, and Azrael waited for his opportunity for escape to present itself. His patience was rewarded when organized religion offered him a juicy out. Plenary indulgence, an action which, when undertaken properly, absolves the participant of their sins. At the start of our movie, Roman Catholic clergyman Cardinal Glick gets special dispensation to dedicate the doorway to a revamped church building. By simply stepping through it, one gets their sins forgiven. The linchpin here is that in the Bible, Peter, apostle of Christ and the first pope of the Catholic Church, is given a promise by Jesus.
"And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatsoever thou shalt loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven."
I just think the King James Version sounds cooler. More these and thous. Anyway, what this means is that whatever the church says is kosher on earth, God has to own up to and accept. Cardinal Glick's blessing of the doorway has a papal sanction, so it's golden. Why bring this up? Well, it's not like a demon can walk through the door and receive forgiveness. That's only for humans. Well, let me introduce you to two more characters. Bartleby and Loki, fallen angels. Well, sort of. Long story short, these two decided they didn't like God killing people in the Old Testament and threw a fit, a drunken one, and were banished from heaven to live out their days outside the pearly gates in Wisconsin. Another little bit of Dogma's lore is that angels and humans have an apparent connection. Should an angel remove their wings, cut them off, they will transubstantiate, which is a fancy word for change, into a human, complete with a conscience, free will, mortality, and most importantly, the ability to be forgiven. By leaving some breadcrumbs, Azrael planned to lure the angels to the church. Desperate to rejoin heaven, they easily went for it. But Kren, you ask, why does two angels getting back into heaven mean anything for Azrael? Ah, my attentive listener, that is because the universe operates
on one principle. God is infallible. To prove him wrong would undo reality and everything that is. Up would become down, black would become white. Existence would become nothingness, in essence. If they're allowed to enter that church, they'll unmake the world.
And that is Azrael's plan. Non-existence is preferable to the suffering and torment that hell inflicts upon him. Let's listen again to that explanation Azrael gives.
Human, have you ever been to hell? I think not. I'd rather not exist than go back to that.
This plan, as final, as insane, as desperate as it is, Azrael feels like it's his only chance for relief from the horrors of hell. Now, to effect his plan, Azrael takes several other steps besides tipping off the angels. He enlists the aids of 3 demon spawns, the Stygian triplets, who take the form of teenagers with hockey sticks. They're tasked with killing the last scion, a woman who is the last descendant of Jesus Christ. Oh, and, they put God in a coma. That's a new one for me. All those JRPGs are like all about killing gods, but I haven't seen one about putting him in a coma. In the end, he meets his demise when View Askewniverse tentpole character Silent Bob strikes him with a blessed golf club, which begs the question, if that was an option, why go through all the rest of this trouble? Azrael doesn't display a lot of abilities explicitly in the movie, so we have to be a little deductive in our analysis here. There's no overt displays of strength, or pyrokinesis, or even like flight, but if you pay attention, you can suss out a few details. For one, possession seems to be on the table. He mentions when meeting with Bartleby and Loki that he's told Hell he was, quote, on a routine possession, which also helps me understand what kind of demon we're talking about here. He seems to be able to appear wherever he needs to, while the humans and even the angels need to use the bus and a train to get around. Azrael just appears. It's possible he travels in a similar manner to the Stygian triplets, ripping holes in the fabric of space to move from place to place. He can manifest horns, or perhaps he can temporarily hide his horns, as it seems he feels relieved to have them manifest. It seems like he can either conjure or summon items, as he produces an Uzi during the bartender scene from nowhere. I'll assume since serendipity, his sister, if you will, required a body to come to Earth, that the form we see Azrael in isn't his natural form. That means he's either possessing someone or, more likely in my opinion, is manifesting some kind of physical form. I suggest this because of his last observed trait. He seems to insinuate that he's invulnerable to conventional attack. We see that killing an angel isn't, quote, all that different from killing a human. But yet Azrael, who is theoretically the same kind of being as Loki and Bartleby, opens himself up for attack. Why? Because
I'm a fucking demon.
But of course, when Silent Bob clocks him with the blessed driver, it rips right through Azrael, destroying him. We see his chest cave in, revealing an empty shell. This is why I think it might only be a manifestation, a temporary puppet for him. Oh, I I suppose I just stepped on the next segment a little. Well, let's just... combine them. Anyway, as I just said, it looks like blessed items are extremely effective against demons in this world. Cardinal Glick's driver easily dispatches Azrael, and the Stygian triplets are followed up quickly in depth by getting dunked in sinks filled with holy water. Yeah, that's it. These guys eat it pretty quickly. They're clearly a threat to a common human, but one with blessed weaponry or a vial of holy water, the entire fight would be done in 10 seconds. So, with that in mind, how might our paladins handle the situation? They just do that. The holy water and the blessed object. I mean, probably a cross, but I suppose they could get creative. What? This one's super easy. A trainee still in the academy could handle this case. What do you want me to do? Detail the plan to lure Azrael into a secluded area and seal him in a demon trap so the paladins can properly exorcise him? I mean, I could, but I know the paladins. Whatever the easy path is, that's what they're gonna do. I mean, sure, they could go mano a mano with Azrael and attempt to lay hands on him and exorcise him, or, and stay with me on this one, they could hit him with a holy putter. Okay, I guess there might be some difficulty in actually making contact with him. Even in our world, contact with demons is often only at their leisure. If Azrael thinks he's in danger, he can just leave, presumably. The key is to utilize his arrogance and possibly his anger and frustration to force a confrontation. Surprise is the key here. Azrael's actually quite clever. He put together this plan and had all the ins and outs figured, with the exception of an errant golf club. Literally, though, had Jay and Silent Bob not robbed Cardinal Glick, the world would have ended. So I think the play is to identify his target or goal and then use his arrogance and hatred of humans to force a confrontation. I don't suppose we can pretend not to be paladins, but both traditional hands-on exorcism and sneaking a holy relic into the fight should work out. The only trick to winning this fight is getting Azrael to actually fight. For those who are new or just don't remember, my job here at the Stewardship is to analyze threats. Paladins in the field come across a myriad of creatures and heretics, and they call back to me for advice and information. Theoretically, more often I just get them wanting to check that they're right and then hang up before I can issue a recommendation, but that is neither here nor there. The point is, when I do get to issue my analyses and recommendations, I use something called a threat level, a paladin's shorthand to get across how dangerous a creature or heretic is. With demons, we also issue them a class level, which doesn't necessarily tell the paladin how dangerous they are, but it does give them a quick idea of what the demon is capable of. Together, these rankings help paladins in the field decide how to act in a given situation. Now, for threat level, I need to stress that the scale is weighted toward the bottom. Moving up the scale is an exponential threat, so try not to think of a level 2 as being twice as strong as a level 1. A level 1 might be, an infestation of Bella moths sprinkling dream dust over your kitchen and making you see pastel-colored ponies after every meal you eat. A quick cleansing and some cayenne pepper should fix things right up. Afternoon job for a paladin. A 10, however? We've never had a 10. To my knowledge, nothing's ever actually gone over a 6. Everything beyond that is hypothetical. God, I hope it's hypothetical. Anyway, looking at our previous entries, both demonic and vampiric, I can quickly guess Azrael won't be high on the list. Blessed Driver. Again, typical humans, he's practically untouchable, if my assumptions are correct. But paladins are not typical humans, and they are equipped with equally unique gear. Well, okay, a crucifix and holy water aren't exactly legendary drops in the game of life. Heck, depending on your religion, there's a decent chance you have at least one of those things in your house right now. So, much like Dracula, I'm looking at an imposing foe with very exploitable weakness. At least he's more mobile and doesn't turn into a literal corpse during the day. Easy to beat if you can catch him. For that, he gets a threat level 2. Now, to round off his dossier, let's take a look at his demon class. This is largely based on a few characteristics, such as being able to maintain their presence on Earth without possessing someone. He's clearly sentient, so he moves past rank 1, and while he can possess people, he seems capable of being on Earth without needing to, so clears rank 2 as well. Intelligent and self-sufficient, he seems like a pretty cut and dry class 3. Paperwork time. Recommend parish level paladins. Armed with white vestments, holy water, and holy relics. Standard anti-demon protocol suggested. Engage, lay on hands. If possible, utilize relics or holy water for more efficient silencing of the target. And another one is in the books. Azrael, a unique, if mostly harmless demon from the imagination of Kevin Smith. You know what? I like him. I find him a relatable villain. His motives, while horrid, have a tinge of comprehensibility in them. Don't get me wrong, they're insane. But I can see where he's coming from. He's desperate. He's clearly lost touch with reality over the eons of torture he's suffered. But what about you guys? What did you think of Azrael? I mean, he's not Morrigan, but who is? Do you think he has a chance later this year when we round up all our demons and see which one exemplifies what it means to be a demon? And who do you think we should do next? If you have an idea for a demon or other monster from fiction you think we should cover, leave it down in the comments section. And if you like what you saw today, please give us a like and subscribe. We have a whole gaggle of demons waiting for you, and you don't want to miss what's coming up. While you're at it, don't forget to check us out over on Twitter and, of course, Twitch, where we play games and even talk about Paladin lore on occasion. We have a new website under construction that you can swing by to check out as well. There you can learn about Paladin lore, information about monsters, items, and especially learn about the new book, The Paladin, that's creeping its way towards completion. There's great art, some sample chapters, and even short stories set in the world of the Paladin. You know you want to read about Teddy Roosevelt hunting werewolves. And hey, don't forget, if you need music for your next project, give my demonic friend Small Quinn a listen. She produced the music you're listening to right now, The Mason's Curiosity. You can find a link to her Ko-Fi page in the description down below. For now, though, I gotta run. Now that taxes are done, the steward gave everyone a bonus pizza party, a bonus pizza party. But I mean, I do like pizza. I gotta get down there before Paladin Aaron snags all the pepperoni and bell pepper. I'm certain she'd leave some if I asked, but I'm just too scared to confront her. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled. You never know what's hiding out there. I really said snoochie boochies. I can't. I don't know if I can. I'm getting swirlied by paladins if they see this.